Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are getting a look at something we don't get to see too often. It's a product from Piko, America, HO scale. It is the Krauss Maffei Locomotive. This is a diesel. Southern Pacific had very limited use of these. It's a very unique diesel, and there's one in a slightly different variation that was restored out west at a museum and is still able to be seen to this day. But let's take a look and see what you get in this Piko Expert line locomotive starting right now. Okay, the box slides off, sleeve, similar to some other manufacturers we've seen before. Piko website in there. And also similar to some manufacturers we've seen before. There's a little trap door here with a manual and some information. We'll take a look at that first. Looks like it just unlatches here. Piko instruction manual, firmware update flyer, a manual or flyer with different Piko parts including track. Here is a notice about the smart decoder, exploded parts diagram. As you can see, a little portion of that there. And the functions are listed on this sheet here, and we'll be using that to cheat our way through the operation portion, acting like we know more than we do. But back to the locomotive. Gonna slide this out and see what's in the box next. All right, so blister packaging here. And inside are extra wheels taped to the clamshell. Looks like a little tab there to pull this up and lift the locomotive off its platform. Can also be used as a little display case with some tracks in there and some pins. So we'll get all that plastic out of the way. Take a closer look at the locomotive. This locomotive really pops. Very cool. On the front here, you've got the SP light packages, very famously known for their light packages. Lights galore, number boards here. I'm going to take it, these are LED lights. Connection cables, MU hoses, etc. Airline hose, coupler. Grab irons all throughout the nose, on the roof there. Finely detailed windshield wipers that you can see present there, one on each side. The horn is up top. You've got high sunshades that are sticking out pretty good there, along with the cab, which appears to have some interior to it. Crew access handrails for entering here, and the ladders below. Looks like you got speed recorder and a whole lot of truck detail. Let's see if we can zoom in on that a little bit. Go in. Still getting used to this camera. It's very jumpy. But you can see, those look like actually maybe sand filler lines, maybe speed recorders, I'm not sure. But pretty intricate truck detail. You've got the portholes all along the side. You can see the lift rings up top here. Finely detailed lift rings. Southern Pacific, obviously. Emergency shutoff for the fuel tank, and sight glass on the fuel tank is viewable here. On the rear, you can see more of truck detail. Road number 9000. We're going to turn this around. Porthole on the rear, rear light, rear platform, coupler lever, I think, right there tucked away behind, and the coupler itself. Let's see if I can get a little more in frame here for you. As we look along the side of the locomotive, you can see those handrails are really nicely done. A little loop at the bottom for all that access and all those ladders to access all those different areas of the locomotive. You see an array of vents, air intake vents and exhaust vents along the side, but let's take a look at the top where you can see even more vents. And the radiator fans. So 2 sets of 3 radiator fans on the roof here. You've got these rivet hatches that are riveted down here. The lift rings we already talked about. And like an electrical conduit on the roof, another separately applied grab. This is just very highly detailed. As we rotate around, I'll let you see the bottom as well. Got a little sticker there on the bottom, some punched in information, Piko and some other UK, US information. I think that's UK, ER or something. And then all your metal wheels, electric pickup, etc. are seen below. All right, let's weigh this. 22 total ounces. That's 624 grams, 1 pound, 6 ounces. So very hefty indeed for this size of locomotive. And just so you know, because people seem to want to know this, we're going to take a look at the rough car body length. It looks like about 9 inches long. If you go coupler to coupler, you're closer to 9.5 inches long on this locomotive. NMRA compliance for the wheel sets appears to be good. Do a quick look on camera here. And these wheel sets have some play in them, so they can adjust to your layout, so that is good. Check coupler height here. Appears to be spot on. Coupled and uncoupled. Check the other side. Maybe a tad bit low, mostly when it's going to couple here. Looks to be spot on coupled. Might have a slight sag as the trip pins hit each other, but pretty much spot on. Now, as I mentioned before, in the manual there is a US version function listing. So we'll go ahead and start this up with an F8. It brings on motor sounds. So this is an ML4000 diesel hydraulic locomotive. So it's not going to sound exactly like everything else you hear on the rails. We have headlight there coming off below. We'll show those a little closer in detail later. Bell. Horn. Horn is playable, it says. There's a short blast there for you. F3 has its own short blast. F4 is dynamic brakes. F5 is manual notch up. F6 is manual notch down. F7 is your headlight dimmer. F8's the motor sounds we already covered. F9 is indicator lights. Looks like it's illuminating the number boards there. F10 is red gyro light. Also illuminated. We'll show that in a darker setting later. Or 10 is dual white, I'm sorry. 11 is gyro light. There you have the red gyro light. That does switch off all other lights. 13's cab interior light. You do see a light in there, but we'll cover that in the darkness. 14's engine room light. 15's lighting double traction. Seems to turn everything off. 16's volume stepper. You can change the volume into 4 different volume steps. 17's couple on couple. We'll do that real quick. 18's brake squeal release. 19's curve squeal sound. 20's radiator fan. 21's sander valve. 22's cab chatter. I'll hit that one real quick. Pretty low volume on that, but it is there. 23 is also cab chatter, 24 air compressor, 25 control stand light, 26 grade crossing horn. We'll do that one. Really nicely detailed, well executed locomotive. Okay, now you see the locomotive, now you don't, but you do see the lighting. I'm going to go over a few of the lighting functions in the dark here. So the dual white gyro light on F10 is already flashing. F11 is the red gyro light, and that will turn off all other lights. So you can see that. I'm going to turn that off now. Back to regular lighting here. 13 cab interior light. There's your cab interior light. Really nicely done. No overkill, no real bleed through. Just a nice white light. You even see a little wheel on the back. Really finely detailed cab interior. And then you obviously see your number board lights, which are not showing up well on the camera, but I assure you are nice and evenly done. I'm not seeing any shine through on that. Now we've repositioned to the cab interior light so you can see a little better the fine details of the cab interior, but I'm going to turn it off with F13 here, because there's also another light, which is the dash lights here. Considered the control stand light on F25, and you can see that illuminate inside the cab there. Once again, here's a little perspective of where you're seeing right now. I'm about to hit the engine room light on F14. And there you have all of the circular windows lit up along the side of the locomotive. If I change direction, you can move that back to where you see the control stand and the dash lit up as well. Lots of lighting features on this. Okay, the last light, as you can see there, is the rear light. I believe this toggles on and on with that double traction. It says lighting double traction F15. And there it goes off with F15. Now we're going to see how well this moves at 1 speed step using the AccuTrack 2 speedometer. So I'm going to move this forward at 1 speed step. You can see slow movement. It was like really slow. So I think what I'll do is go ahead and move this over here. And we're going to pause it. It is, does appear to be lurching a little bit at this extremely slow speed control, but man, that's about as crawling as I've ever seen. So let's pause it and just jump to the end and not make you guys wait in agony. Okay, speed control was too slow to register, so we're going to jump it up to 4 speed steps and basically divide by 4, maybe 3 to be safe, which will tell you what the speed control is at 4 speed steps out of 128. It's 2.2, so you're looking at about a half a scale mile per hour at that 1 speed step. This thing is extremely smooth, as you can see. Once you get past that first speed step, we will drop it down to 2 for you, and we can run the speedometer again at 2, because that's a little closer probably to 1 scale mile per hour. But even at 2, if you look closely to your right, that locomotive is moving very, very slowly. Let's see what we register in at. See, 0.9 scale miles an hour at 2 speed steps out of 128 is insane. All ready to go for a pull test here. The sound is just the wheels against the rails. Looks like we peaked at 4 ounces, which is about 60 freight cars, no problem being pulled by this. Not a bad pull test at all in my opinion, but you be the judge. Well, I believe that's going to wrap up our review of the Piko sound-equipped ML4000 Krauss Maffei diesel hydraulic locomotive. It's a mouthful. I probably said some stuff backwards, but it's a very well-executed locomotive. The sound is just really well done. Some of the best sounds I've heard, and volumes and bass. Just the overall sound experience. Top of the line from what I've been seeing in this hobby for the past 15 years. Drive very smooth, details very, very well detailed. This is just a well executed model overall. I could not find fault. Even with the NMRA testing and the pull testing, you know, you could have a diesel locomotive pulling like 80 cars, but 60 is pretty darn good. And you have all your lighting features, including the control stand, the cab, the engine room, the other lights on the SP package, the number board lights, the rear light, you name it. It's got some of the top lighting features I've ever seen as well. Piko really sets the bar high. It's kind of going to be leading the pack if they keep doing stuff that us North American modelers want. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll leave you with a run by, and we'll see you next time right here on the channel. Take care.